So here we are. Yes, the final day of the CSGO tournament at Gamescom in Cologne. It has been, well, it started off as a crazy format anyway. It has got even more insane. Yesterday, the action was great. We are down to just 3 teams, though. One of those teams only has 1 life. And one of those teams, well, I don't know what he did yesterday, Sponge. He weaved some sort of black magic, but by not working, he did better. That's the sort of job we all want. I don't know how he did it, what he put in everyone's tea, but that is what he did. That will be the first matchup this morning. It's not behind me anymore, but it will be Renegades taking on TSM, those 2 guys there. And we are looking forward to seeing that battle. You never know what's going to happen, but at some point today, 2 teams will lose all their lives and we will have a winner. Now, what we need to do is choose the map. The map is chosen by the community. It's stuck up on the wall behind me. You can see it here. We put up, there is 8 different boxes. Behind each one is a random tweet that has come in from the community. We need to choose a number. Now, normally that would be done by the winning team from yesterday. Envy, the French guys are not here yet. A little late morning, a cappuccino, a baguette. They're not here, so I need to choose someone just to choose a number for me. We're gonna go this way. Madam, just choose a number. Just choose a number, any number.
7.
7, she says. Let's find out what's behind number 7. It's Dust 2. That is the map we're going to choose today. Sponge, you happy about that? Spongy, happy? Yeah? Carrigan, are you happy about that? They're both happy about it. They're not listening. They're talking about tactics, I guess. So thank you very much to all of your tweets. We'll open the map vote again in a second and find out what the next map will be, because that is how we choose the map. So the first game this morning is going to be TSM taking on Renegades on Dust 2. Chobra, let's get it on!
Thank you, OJ. Indeed, we are at day 4 at the Intel Extreme Masters here in Cologne, Germany for Gamescom, and this is the last day for the CSGO tournament. I'm here with my Blues brothers. It's going to be Jason and Joe. This is the most blue stage I've worked on in quite some time.
I actually only just realized that literally every single one of us today is Natsu's got like a greeny blue shade on, so I guess he's the odd one out today, but we're all wearing different tones of blue, so that's good. Yeah. Might be good for Envy, you know, because they are the blue team, if you like, on this one.
The boys in blue.
But I like what OJ said there, you know, Sponge, by not working yesterday, you did better, a job that everyone would like to have, and it's very true. I mean, they were in a tough position anyway. They were, I think, crossing their fingers and hoping that they wouldn't get picked, and, you know, that's what happens when you're a friendly Australian. Teams do you a good solid like that.
Strictly against what my parents told me. Work hard, always work every day of your life. That's how you find success. But Sponge, he worked day 1 and like half of day 2 and figuring it out. Had a day off on day 3, and here he is at day 4. Still, only 1 life left, but still in the game. Now, let's talk about that a little bit, though. The map, we talked about at the end of yesterday. TSM, most people are saying, well, probably maybe beneficial that they don't get Cobble, like, Renegades, rather, would benefit from playing either on Cobble, maybe some Cache. Of course, they're really well known for that map. We had 3 Cobbles, 2 Caches up there, but it's going to be Dust 2. Jason, how much lower did the percentages go from that map selection?
A lot. You think back to the first game they played up against Mouse Sports. There's a 16-2 against them on Dust 2. They looked terrible. Yeah, it's one of the maps that they can play, but now they're up against TSM, who beat Mouse Sports already on Dust 2. It's going to be such a tough match for them.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty rough.
Yeah, I mean, TSM showed that they can play a fairly standard Dust 2 and be very, very good at it. I mean, they did literally nothing special, I think, on Dust 2, but everything fell into place for them. It was no, super Counter-Strike. It was very standard, very by the book, but it was strong for them.
And that's why a lot of people are kind of rating TSM just overall, that they can play standard, but they're still super consistent, that they're hitting the shots they need more than trying to put some mind games, or rather than trying to get an upper hand by creativity. On certain of these maps, they don't need to. They can have some specialized maps, and other ones they can play safe.
I like how you said, hitting their shots. That's all they really needed to do there. And they adapted the strategy a little bit. You saw KGB was kind of playing towards Car. You saw Chris J letting Kerrigan drop multiple times in towards CT spawn, and that kind of caused a big pain in Godby's backside. But they do these little adaptations. They play super standard. They make you work against them, and they adapt to how you play. And that's why they're one of the top teams out there.
Yeah, now let's talk about Renegades a little bit. You guys mentioned 16-2 when they played against Mouse. Now, that is the lowest score we've had so far here at the Intel Extreme Masters. However, they admitted that day that, of course, all credit to Mouse, but at the same time, they were just not in good form. There were rounds where they should have won, where they had such an advantage, and they still just got taken out, picked off one by one, and only got those 2 rounds against Mouse. Do you think at least we'll see a little bit of a better performance today from Renegades?
Well, going back to that, you know, they were outplayed strategically. They were out-aimed across the board at almost every single round there. As you said, they only won 2 rounds by the end of it. But the good thing for them is that they did get to watch TSM a lot yesterday. So if they've not figured it out by now and they're not ready for today, then it's never going to happen anyway.
And the thing is, they seem to actually play better when they actually have a couple days off. Because I'm thinking back to the ESL 1 qualifiers in Malaysia, where they had about 5, 6, 7 days of not even playing because they're coming from ESWC flying over. And they 16-0 neck break on Inferno, one of the top Indian teams. Like, they've had the day off, you know, they're a little bit cool, but that might be exactly what they need.
Yeah, and again, they didn't have to play yesterday. They just enjoyed the show. Like you said, Joe, they've had time to figure out how does TSM play on Dust 2, or overall, what do we need to look out for? How much will that help them, though? It's really going to matter here. Now, Renegades, if they lose this, they're out. And the interesting point there, then, is that TSM and Envy both left with 3 lives each. This is kind of the dream finish to this tournament. Everyone wondered. They're like, oh, the format's a little bit funny, but Envy and TSM should still be the top 2, and here they are, both 3 lives left. We could see a potential just best of 5 between these 2 teams.
Yeah, I mean, that was, as you mentioned, the expected outcome, I think, for this tournament, that both TSM and Envy would have lives left by the end. Not quite sure everyone really expected that they both have 3 maybe coming into this final day, but I'm not, you know, losing hope in the Renegades just yet for this one. We saw on Twitter Sponge had a bit of a campaign going to try and get everyone to vote Cash, or Cash if you're an Australian. That obviously didn't work out for them, because I think there was only 1 Cash actually in there.
There was 2. One was covered up by OJ, trying to hide the chances
OJ.
there.
But yeah, that's obviously his little campaign didn't particularly work out for them. And now I think people are like, oh, you want to play Cash, do you? I'm voting for Dust 2 or Mirage or Inferno, anything else apart from that one. But yeah, you know, it's not over. It's the first game of the day. People are coming in cold to this one. So there is still a possibility there of an upset, which it definitely would be if we look at how this tournament's gone so far.
Oh yeah, definitely would be an upset. But like you said, if anything, also we've noticed Renegades, they're very emotional when they get fired up. They just keep that engine rolling. But when they just get stumped 1 round, then suddenly you see them die out for another, 3-4 rounds. They're not able to pick themselves back up. Talking about the map pool also, what's interesting here is that, again, even on day 4, the same rules apply. Once a map is played, you can't play it again.
Yeah.
TSM, if they win here, do you think they're feeling pretty comfortable that, like, all right, Dust 2, that's a map that can really go either way against Envy. We don't have to worry about that anymore against them.
That's actually a really good point. I didn't even think about that till now. I mean, Envy is statistically a strong team on Dust 2. You have Kenius in the mix. You have Happy locking down middle with the AWP if he chooses to stay there. That's going to be really a good sign for TSM. And the thing about Envious is, I think Thorn even made like a good point of this, that they have a really rough start in the early points of like a best of 3 or a best of 5 in the early parts of the tournament. But when they have this extended period, their first true test now against TSM, it's really going to see how the team's adapted, how they've really worked from the point of the team swap to now getting here.
See, I'm not sure if I agree with that one, because they also have said quite openly, we've seen it, that Cobblestone is a little bit of a rough point for them. Would you rather play that against Renegades, on paper a weaker team?
True.
Or, do you want to play that against Envy? Because chances are that it's going to come out. I mean, if all goes to plan and they win here, then they're going to be playing possibly 5 maps.
Yeah. And again, that is community influence, and the chances go higher and higher as we knock them out, because again, they're out of the map pool, and so maybe they get to play Inferno Mirage the first 2 maps, but then suddenly Cobble comes up. How is TSM going to climb up from that? They've played on that map previous to the very first match of the Intel Extreme Masters, and we had Envious, of course, coming out on top there. A little bit of a closer match, but Envy definitely showed that they were coming in strong this week, that they were taking this tournament very seriously. Other people coming in and saying, like, we're just going to play with what we have prepared. Envy said, with the new lineup, this is where kind of we debut at a professional level with this roster. We're going to make this one count. And so far, they've done it for sure. They've left an imprint, I think, on all the teams and all the fans that have been watching this week.
I feel like we've missed an opportunity here somewhere in the rules where, on the final day, the 3rd place team, the first guys to go out on the final day get to like bring in a random map of their choice. So, TSM Envy, all or nothing on Office.
I was thinking bring back Nuke. Just throw that one out there, Adam.
That's not random enough at this point. Italy or Office, I think, is where we need to go in there.
That would have been fun to watch. Something to keep in mind the next time if we have a chance to do something fun like this.
The thing is, you pointed out the whole fact that, Envious are taking this very serious, and this is a good opportunity for them to kind of gauge where they really stand between all these teams. You have like a very good spread. You have CLG, I mean, probably obviously the first team out. I'm not gonna say they're a bad team, but the first team being knocked out, you kind of have your chance to test North America's number 2. You have great teams like Mousesports, a very top team here in Germany, actually the top team. You have TSM, one of the best in the world. You get to really kind of see where you stand right before that major kicks off in a couple of weeks' time. I mean, ESL One Cologne, there's a lot of money at stake there for these teams and a lot of pride, and this is like the perfect opportunity to just get set up for it.
Yeah, just to, as you rightly pointed out there, not particularly to use as practice, but to just test yourselves and really gauge how good actually are we with Kenny S and Apex. Like, at what point are we now? Do we need to change something in the really short time span really between now and ESL One Cologne? I think it's about 10 days actually, the only that's really in between them. So, that's got to be pretty focused. And I actually heard that Envy and Renegades are staying in Cologne and boot camping together.
Ooh,
that'll be interesting, actually.
The alliance continues. It actually just doesn't end. They've decided this is not a bad system. We'll stick with this going forward. That's exciting for both teams, really, because both of them can really benefit from that time going into ESL One Cologne. That's something to look out for, of course, as we start the last day of the CSGO tournament at the Intel Extreme Masters. Again, TSM versus Renegades. Let's come back to that a little bit, though, because we're talking like it's going to be TSM Envy no matter what. But Renegades, what happens if? I'll emphasize the if, because I know I've been dreaming all week. Seems like all those dreams have been crushed. But if Renegades wins this, what are we looking at? Because most likely Envy versus TSM, with TSM already down a life.
I would be insane. Like, just imagine them sitting on 1 life, coming back, beating out TSM, beating out Envious. I mean, it's going to be tough. It's not impossible, for them to do it. But, when you're up against TSM for the first game, you would be, potentially up against, well, you'd have TSM Envy play next after that, and then they'd be up against, I guess, the loser of that game. It'd be really rough to see if they can beat both teams multiple times.
Yeah, we could see kind of a repeat here of maybe TSM starting to have to grind through these games if Renegades wins. Again, a pretty big if, but we'll find out. Ladies and gentlemen, please tell us what you think is going to happen. Can Renegades survive with that 1 life after just having a chill day on day 3? Hashtag IEM on Twitter. Of course, you can let us know on all your other social media platforms. And if you missed any of the games, I mean, we're talking about the tournament format and how exciting that's been, but we've had some exciting games for sure from all 6 teams. So go over to plays.tv if you want to catch some highlights or the full match VODs and more. You'll get to see everything from the Intel Extreme Masters there and catch up, be up to date as we kick off the last day of this tournament. I'm pretty darn excited on how this is all going to play out. We've had the moments where the players really took advantage of the system, but now it's do or die time for all 3 teams left.
I just love the backstabbing that's been coming in. Like, I saw a couple of pictures on Reddit of just like Kerrigan staring down Katie and like, what the hell, man? I thought we had this good alliance going on. We're all Danish brothers, and yet you stabbed us in the back. It's just really cool to see that side of the whole tournament, because usually the teams are set in the ways of who they're playing, but now I get to see, kind of things switching the last moment, having to prepare for that map and that team you didn't expect to play. It's honestly, I love it.
It's great that Renegades and Envy didn't stab each other in the back if they're going to do a 10-day-long boot camp in Cologne, because that could be a little bit interesting after a while if they went for that. I actually didn't do the maths on this, but how many games are Renegades? I feel like you're going to be better at this than me, Chobra. They have to win 5 games.
How many do they have to win?
Because you'd be 1 game off, 1 game on, right?
So if you beat TSM, right, so that's 1, and then Envy, let's assume, beats TSM just for simplicity's sake, and then you beat them again, and Envy beats them again, so that's 2, and then you have to win, so 5. I was right.
See? Oh. I don't know why you're doubting yourself, Chobra. I told you, you're a smart man, and you are, in fact, are.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you. So on that note, Renegades, they're playing a best of 7 essentially against the system here, against both Envy and TSM. It is a long way to go, but I don't think they're focusing on that. I mean, they're obviously happy that no matter which route they took, whether it's in-game or out of game, they're here in the top 3, and now they have a chance. Sponge was talking about that yesterday. He's like, well, it's been fun to play the system and have this rivalry with SK, but we want to see how we do against these other teams. It would be nice. It's kind of daunting because we only have 1 life left, but it'd be nice to test ourselves against the other top teams that people favor in this tournament. Here's their chance to play against TSM on Dust 2. No better way to test their limits.
And in all reality, they've got further than they probably should have at this point. It's very much debatable as to whether they should have made it out of yesterday, considering that they had that 1 life left.
Man,
I expected them to go up early against CLG and end up having to fight a bit of a knockout game, but That just didn't happen for them, did they? Sponge just sat there. We saw him on stage every time, like, please don't pick us, please don't pick us. Yay, they didn't pick us, great. And he got to sit backstage, and they were honestly incredibly happy that they didn't have to do any games whatsoever yesterday. Bring them here through to day 3. But the real test starts now, because TSM, honestly, they're still looking good. I mean, we're talking about TSM here. Probably the second best team in the world right now.
Yeah, and if they continue this pace, like if they've been on a tremendous high just in this year alone, you know, winning so many major tournaments and so many impactful matches that come into this one, I think they're going to maybe underestimate Renegades a little bit. I mean, you have Renegades, like we said, on one life. They're not going to hold back in this game. Obviously, you know, Joe just said they wanted to test themselves.
Yeah.
With one life left, they're not going to look at it like, okay, we can lose this match, whatever, we can come back with another life later on. Nothing's going to be held back at all by them, and they're going to go balls to the wall.
Yeah, we could see some crazy stuff coming out of Renegades. And as we were looking at the matches here, another interesting point is that Envy has actually, I think they prefer how this tournament has played out because TSM put them against Mouse so many times. They're like, all right, we've got a lot of warm-up coming into this last day. We've got to play against Mouse a couple times. Whereas TSM, they played against CLG, they played against SK. They did play against Envy and Mouse once each, but you could argue they've had a relatively easier route coming into this last day compared to Envy. So we'll see how that affects them. Of course, TSM overall has been together much longer with a success streak so far this year. And that's why they've been favored at the Intel Extreme Masters.
You know, I like how you point out that Envy has played Mouse Sports so many times because we got to see Mouse Sports in such great form. I mean, again, they're coming to the major really soon. And there's been a lot of questions about consistency, about whether or not they were a top team. And I think they're really starting to, you know, pass that line from a tier 2 team into tier 1.
Yeah, well, this game here, TSM versus Renegades. Can Renegades do it? Looks like players are all ready. Just double checking before we start day 4. Here at Gamescom. Love the little props that everyone has.
I think Get Right has like a bear. That's like a little
everyone has
charm.
their own little thing that like puts you in their comfort zone.
I think we should start doing this. We need to bring our cuddly toys onto the desk with us. I'll bring Natu. He's my cuddly bear.
I'll call Anders then.
What am I?
Right, you might have beaten me there already. I might have already lost this game. I'm not quite so sure.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, get excited. Tell us what you think. Who's going to win this? Can Renegades really launch this miracle they've survived so far at the Intel Extreme Masters? Can they do it? They will get their choice of side to kick things off. That's what they needed. It's a good start. Let's find out in the game. And ladies and gentlemen, if you thought Cologne, Germany didn't have good weather, well, check out D-Man because he's had a blast out in the sun.
Thank you very much, Cho Bros. You guys really need to put some clothes on under that desk, though. It's definitely starting to get a little breezy here. Yeah, I'm joined by Natu, ladies and gentlemen, for this first game, and we were just discussing it while they were ripping them apart. Renegades literally have nothing to lose in this game. They should just go all in.
Oh, definitely. What they need to do is to play with, I think, overly confident. Not really hesitant in any situation where you could push, you just do it. And at the same time, when you're playing TSM, they're very scary when it comes to their A splits specifically. The way they time it, it's no rocket science really, but just the way they execute it is very dangerous. So what you'd really want to do, make sure, is that you always have one either long or short under control for yourself.
So it's looking like it is going to be T-side start for Renegades. This is what we were discussing off air. Like, where even if they won the knife round, should they possibly start on T-side just to see what they're up against?
Yeah.
Try and just go, because that's really T-side's where you can do the crazy tactics. That's where you want to try stuff.
Yeah, that's where you can dictate the pace of the game here. And pistol round obviously going to be a very important factor here. See how they do it. Seems like they're going to go for a pretty standard slow kind of a play, using a few grenades here to start off with. That would
Zipnik's already aggressive.
Yeah, that possible B-split they were trying to run.
So they're smoked off on Xbox. Zipnix is going to counter that with a smoke onto short, prevent them pushing straight through, and you can see the tracer fire coming through. He realizes he's about to run through. He manages to get 2 down. That's going to stop Renegades dead in their tracks. JKS, Sponge and Havoc do get through, but that's already put them in a real tricky situation. A 5-on-3. They need to try and push on through. There's the smoke. They're going to drop down. Cajun Beat giving the cover fire. Dupree coming from behind. Dupree's the man to watch as Device comes through and gets a double. And that was a very clean pistol round for Team Solo Mid.
It would have been a totally different situation unless Zipnik's got that double kill. I mean, it was obviously very lucky for him, but that just made Renegades stop on their tracks. They were not pushing in the way they should have, because what they needed to do at that point was, even when they went 2 down, they should have still just rushed in on top of the site and tried to take control as fast as possible.
It was Havoc that was getting a glimpse through double doors there. JK, as you can see, he's gone down into lower B tunnels. Hazard's trying to challenge out. It's Cajun B with the scout, but you can see Zipnik's on your screen there, covering the tracer fire. Device will find Hazard. He tried to push on through. Device giving the cover with that M4. Zipnix is going to burst out a blue box here and just manage to mow them down. Gets himself a double. Carrigan with another. And JKS now left all alone.
Yeah, bad thing is that they're not getting any kills here right now, so they're not able to make any dent to TSM's economy on these save rounds, and not getting a bomb plant, investing in those Deck 9s, and not getting a single kill the whole round. This is not a great start for Renegades. They need to have another save here.
Yeah, just giving all the cash to Team Solo mid. They're going to be getting that bank built up early. Cajun B's going to stick with the scout, and why not? Because he knows they're going to be most likely on a full save. It's looking like Renegades will just stick with those pistols. Just one singular flash, that's all they're going to go with. It looks like it might be a B rush. Long A rush.
Yep, they're just trying to get lucky here to get some kills going for them.
All right, Carrigan and Zipnix, they played it right. They went with a double nade, but it was a delayed stack. But you can see Zipnix just getting the spray down. All very easy. Carrigan with the backup, and that's the bomb loose now. Just Azza and Yam left holding the baby, getting flashed out. Carrigan, I think he's going to feel confident on this one. Oh, got to dink those straight away, so he won't be pushing straight through. Cajun B with a nade will close things off.
That was the worst kind of a start Renegades could have had. They've had one kill between them in 3 rounds, and that never spells good things, to be honest with you. Now this year, they really need to get kills, at least a lot of kills going on here, because unless they do that, TSM's just going to run away with a lot of economy. That's not good.
Yam's going to go long A with the AWP. See if he can land the shot. Carrigan and Cajun B round the corner, but it's Cajun B that comes out on top. He got the tag on Carrigan. You can see, got him down to 16 health, but the response was there, and that is just about the worst start they wanted to this round.
Definitely. Now, that's the way. When you have that spawn, you really want to utilize that. And unlucky for him, he only got the leg shot. Carrigan getting the kill. At this point, Renegades they really just need to settle up, try to get a push together, get the next kill. That's what gives you the opportunity to get around.
If you just look at the map, you can see that TSM are holding the exact pattern you were telling me just before this game. It's like, this is the perfect tactic that TSM should run. And they are in position. Though Device and Dupree have now rotated to B, so little information for TSM actually. Renegades have done a good job at staying pretty silent so far, so they don't know what site's going to get hit.
Yeah.
It's going to be Azza, Sponge and Havoc. They're bursting on towards A site from Catwalk. Cajun B in position, will expect the man to drop down there. Azza, information from Carrigan. And now again, they're going to try and go for the fake. They're going to go towards Dupree. They do get Dupree down. Can they go mid to B? No, Device is there. But JKS and Havoc have caused a few problems. And now Havoc gets himself another. It's suddenly a 2-on-1. Carrigan, the last man standing. He was tagged up by Yam right at the start of the round, down to 16 health. They're going to go for A, and Carrigan's going to have to come from Catwalk.
That round never looked like it should have gone to Renegades whatsoever.
Yeah.
They were pushing him 1 by 1. It's the worst way of doing it. Still, JKS and Havoc just going to ham. But there we go. Renegades just pick it up around from a situation where you never expect them to get that one.
Yeah, that was a 3v5.
Yep.
Perfect setup by TSM. Great defensive hold. They got 2 down in mid, 2 on A. Everything was in position for them, but they just didn't land those shots. It's a double up response from TSM, though. Havoc, of course, kept hold of that up from the last round. It does mean that it's going to be Cajun B down at A long, and Device taking the other AWP over to B.
Yep, another very pacey round here. The default kind of a strategy from Renegades, just taking control of the map to start off with, and trying to see where, wow, Cajun get the very, very big first kill. It's going to be horrible for Renegades, considering the fact that they were only 2 alive on the round they won. So this round here plays a big part when going further down on this half when it comes to economy for Renegades.
Sponge is keeping hold of the AWP. He's not passed it off to Havoc, which I would expect. He's going full turret. You can see him on the big boost there on Xbox. Trying to wait for Device to come looking, but Device unfortunately is not moving. He's rooted on platform on B. So are they going to pass it off? Yes, they are. Havoc's going to now have the AWP. Zimnix is in that little position just on ramp while Cajun B's covering from just outside Goose, ready and waiting for this attack. Now, they came out on top last time, Renegades. See if they can do it again. Here they go. Zipnik's flashed up. KGB forced to back away. He's got a little angle. He may catch Azza as soon as he comes around the corner. You can see he's holding that CT spawn. Zipnik, though, will pop out a goose. He gets himself a double. The attack is being stopped dead in its tracks by TSM. Azza, the last man in CT spawn, with it all to do. Gets himself one, but now they know where he is. The device from the back of B will close it down. That's what should have happened in the previous round.
Yeah, Renegades just made that way too easy for TSM. Zipnik's was just enjoying himself, spraying him down, because when you're pushing from short, you need to, while you're flashing, you need to be running in. The only thing that happened was one guy jumped in CT spawn, but that's all that happened, really. And then afterwards, just a walk in the park for TSM and Zipnik's in particular. So what Renegades really need to do when they're pushing these sides, they need to do it with a lot of flashes and do it together as a unit instead of one by one and waiting for way too long.
Device, very aggressive, push through double doors. Just got a brief glimpse of Yam there as he peeks around the corner. It doesn't manage to get the shot. Cajun B, meanwhile, did land one. That was through double doors, straight up top of mid. And of course, you can see Renegades. They do just have Tech 9s. So just the very bare minimum. But they really haven't made a dent other than that one random round. I think it's safe to say random round because it was a round they shouldn't have won, but they came out on top of. TSM being pretty strong. Economy-wise, you know, the fact that they lost a couple of kills, TSM are not doing that well, but I think they're fairly comfortable.
Oh yeah, they are right now. They're sitting on pretty comfortable.
Oh yes. It's AWP time. There's just all AWP kills in a single round.
Right
there we
now,
go.
yeah, right now what Renegades really needs to do, since there's a double AWP right now in TSM's hands, they need to speed up their game. If they get long spawns, which they don't this time though, they should go for long. They should definitely go there. What they could do is like a fast bit split, try to take over Catwalk really quickly, try to get a cheeky first kill and just run with it, something along those lines. Because if you're going to play slow, that's going to be very hard when you're playing against a double AWP.
They've very much forced this. You can see Sponge just got a Tech 9, the Galil for Havoc. Everybody else with the AKs, but let's see if they do try and speed things up. Dupree and Zipnik's, oh, this is clever from TSM. They've shifted it, expecting the AWPs to be sat in double doors, but it's not, it's two rifles.
Yep, and now this is like Dupree's position is very good if it so happens that Renegades is doing a B split. He's sat there on a Mox and see to spawn.
Yeah, the turret once again. They're liking that. They keep setting that up, don't they? But it's not working out for them. Nobody's showing out. Sponge looks like he's going to try and be the distractor down at long A. Cajun B and Carrigan holding that position. Will Zipnik sits once again at the back of Goose. He got himself a double kill from this position last time they tried this. Let's see if he can do it again. Cajun B does get flashed out, but he's still going to be in position to try and get the cross. Oh, it was Azza that tried to drop down into CT spawn and get Dupree, but Dupree turned it round. Now they're going to try and switch things up. They're going to quicken the pace. They're going to try and get across towards B, but Dupree gets himself one. That's Yam going down. Sponge collects himself the bomb that Yam was carrying, and Device was set up in position, gets one, doesn't get the second, switches to Tech 9, and JKS will get him down. So they have sight. It's a 2-on-3 hold. Can they do it? Cajun B watching the cross, will manage to catch a glimpse. Didn't get the tag though. Carrigan on the rotate, going to tunnels. Zipnik's peeking at doors, and Cajun B coming from long. Is he going to keep hold of that orb? Carrigan comes through, doesn't matter. Zipnik's gets one. They completely take sight with ease. And Zipnik's just on full cleanup duty.
Yeah, right now it's Renegades just running into a wall of Zipnik's, Cajun B, and Dupree. I mean, every time, pretty much all they've done so far is try and go for the short push, and once just jumping to CT spawn, it's not working for them right now. They need to switch up their gameplay. They need to speed it up like I said before. Try a faster B split, or try to take long if you get the spawns. Try to force something. Try to force panic in the early round and try to get that early pick and then play with that. Play with the man advantage. But right now they're not getting any. TS is not giving them anything, but it's more about Renegades not doing anything else but trying to pick that cat.
And that's twice running. They've also tried that little fake play, and as they're dropping down into CT spawn, so obviously with Dupree sat ready and waiting for him this time. Kind of a fairly easy read. They're going to do another mid-split and see if they can just try pile on through, but Device and Dupree have already backed away. You can see Device just getting that spray down. He's on the M4 this time, not the AWP. This is all a cleanup duty. Sponge does get in there, but that is about all they're going to get. JKS, one man standing. Deprise and Dupree, you can see they got tagged pretty low. Just 25 and 26, so just a couple of little shots here and there may have been a bit of a difference for Renegades, but 7-1 is the score posted so far by TSM. And kind of going the way as expected, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yeah. Renegades right now, they have the spawns for long. Let's see if they utilize that, because it would be really good for them to try and force long. Because that would be a crucial part of the map in their control.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the pick through doors, but not going to work out. JKS has managed to get out, though, on towards long A. So do they know he's around the corner? Havoc's going to get flashed in with him. Havoc does manage to get Carrigan down. JKS pushing the corner, pushing the angle, but Cajun B's managed to get himself in that little vital corner at car. The grenade will land at his feet, but now it's straight up one-on-one. Can they manage to catch him down? A flash will get a follow through. Cajun B very low. He gets burnt out by Sponge. He gets challenged out, and now Zipnik's taken down at long. The smoke goes out, but they weren't expecting the quick push from Device, but Azza was. And now it is all on Dupree. A very good little push from the Renegades down long A. As you said, they got the spawn position for it, and it worked wonders. That Molly's going to slow Dupree down. That's going to force him down catwalk. Remember, the clock is ticking. Bomb is down. JKS makes that rush towards Cat, so don't peek around the corner, JKS. You've got so little help, but maybe when Dupree just looks the other way, he does strike, and finally Renegades get another round on the board.
There we go. Utilize the spawns. Take the early fights. Trade kills. That comes to your advantage. It's going to make the defense that much harder when they're playing with less players. Really nice. I really like this. I just hope they keep doing this, because right now, if they just fall back to that default thing, I think it's not going to be good at all. They need to keep this kind of gameplay.
Azza's got out quicker than early. He's got Carrigan down, but Device did challenge out on Havoc. Does mean that they're going to push out long A. Cajun B tagged low again, but he's just landing the shots one after another. Make it a triple. And that's a problem, really. That's the big issue. It's like once it works once, they're ready for it a second time.
Oh yeah, Cajun is just a phenomenal player. DOS 2A. I think he's one of the better players you'll see playing that sniper rifle towards A. And there's Exhibit A of that.
So Renegades just forcing out what they can, seeing if they can try and rush something out here. What's realistically a good posting for Renegades here up against TSM?
I mean, they would like to, at this point,
anything.
6 rounds.
6 rounds.
Yeah, that's what you need to have.
That's a tough ask, isn't it?
That is a very tall ask.
When you think TSM went 11-4 on their T side up against Mouse earlier on in this tournament.
Yeah, ideally you want to have 8 or more T side at least.
Device went for that peak 3 times and didn't land the shot. Now he's going to transfer his way back in towards B side, but unfortunately the slow play that Renegades have gone here has given Device the perfect positioning for this play. Sponge, JKS and Yam setting themselves up at tunnels, and we can see Device in perfect spot. The delayed smokes as well. 50-second that smoke goes out. It's going to slow things down. They're going to have to flash through it, and that's what they're doing. Dupree wasn't with him. He's managed to go get himself one in the middle. Device lands the shot though, and now he's got the support. Dupree, perfect position, wasn't flashed up. Now they're going to just push on through, and as it goes down, Device even lived as well. It was a 4K for Dupree. Beautiful.
Yam is still waiting to come on the scoreboard right now. He's not having a match of his life for sure.
Oh dear, yeah.
Playing against TSM on DOS 2 as terrorists, oftentimes feels like whatever you're doing, there are going to be a lot of people where you're going. It's just the rhythm that they have on their CT play. It's just very good, and that's making it really hard. But Renegades goes through that long push again.
I managed to get one down with the pistol. Carrigan's molly does burn them out, and that grenade will also do its damage on JKS as he pushes round. Look at this, Cajun B back in position. It's just bread and butter stuff for him. Knows exactly where he's landing the shots. And like you say, Yam, bless him, he's on 0-2-11. And maybe that's probably why we saw the AWP being passed off to Havoc so early on. He's just not feeling confident this morning.
Yeah, it's not the best of his mornings, is it? But at least Renegades is trying. They're trying to make it pick up the pace and make it faster, and then doing the things that I was suggesting before. But it's still just TSM being way too strong. It's Cajun B just locking that A side down everywhere they go.
They're reading the tactics very well as well. Again, Zipnix and Dupree back down in towards CT spawn. They just boosted Dupree on towards box, I think, there. Yeah. So him coming down and stacking up. Carrigan, Cajun B, they've been solid on long A. Just that one single falter is all they've had. And the slow play they're doing is already gave Cajun B, okay, I'm going to rotate it back. Zipnik's covering me off. It's going to be a catwalk push. They've read this.
Yeah, it's way too obvious right now. What they want to do at this point, if a Renegades, you try an A split. You give pressure for either one of the two sides There we go.
That's the opener they needed, but Havoc immediately is taken down by Cajun B because this man has been an immovable object so far on the A site, and he's actually feeling that confident he's just pushing up straight in the open on Catwalk. Crazy stuff. Dupree's going to get a peek across, gets himself the flash on both Sponge and Azza as they try and peek around. JKS is having the audacity to challenge Device at B tunnels.
This is the B hold TSM has. It's very hard to attack against. So let's see how this pans out.
Dupree gets himself in towards Car, but he's been taken down, but Device is still at the back there. He does manage to get the kill onto Sponge there. JKS finally gets him down, but just as they thought they had a great position, Cajun B strikes, moves himself through. Yam, can he be his first kill of the game? Surely to be, yes it will! Cajun B, now, he's got himself the AWP. This is his normal rifle, let's see what he can do with it. He's in a one-on-one with Carrigan. Carrigan's gonna play it wise, he just backs away into sight. And it will be the round. But a kill's a kill, and when Yam needs it, that's what he needed. I would say Carrigan's only on 3 as well, but unfortunately he's only actually died 3 times as well. The rest of his team are just picking up all the kills. Cajun B on 17, you can't argue with that.
Oh yeah, Carrigan's just not seen a lot of action at all. He's just been sat here watching his teammates play for the past 13 rounds.
Oh, Carrigan taken down quick and early. Yam, maybe that was the confidence he needed to get going. 11-4 is the best they can hope for. Let's see if they can turn their look around here. Dupree and Device, I'm mixing them both together now. Holding this angle in middle. Yam's going to come around, he's going to find Device, but unfortunately Device will strike first. That's given them the opening into B site though. Device does go for the rotate and it's taken down. They have control. Dupree also caught in the middle at the moment. Sponge comes around, that's going to be an easy shot for him. Switches it out to Tech9, expecting the back push. Zipnik's going to go all the way around T-Spawn while Cajun B rotates with him. It's a long rotate for both of TSM here in a 4-on-2.
Yeah, I think at this point they just want to have some extra kills, to be honest with you. Because that would make the next round that much harder for Renegades to work with.
Yeah, financially, while they have been winning these rounds with ease, they're still not crazily well off. I mean, Devices obviously have been buying up that up quite regularly. It's put him fairly low. Cajun B does get that one. They're actually all coming in this direction as well. This could be a massacre by TSM on the exits. If Zipnik looks out, he's going to wait. A little sneaky peeky, didn't quite see. But Renegades do get the 3rd round, and that was all started off by Yam starting to land the shots.
Yeah, problem right now, if you look at how the scoreline's been building up, it's only they've been getting 1 round and losing again, getting 1 round and losing again. So that's, you need to be able to string rounds together. At the 11-3, obviously, it's starting to become the point where it's just too little too late.
He's gone fast, he's gone aggressive. Oh, but he doesn't land the shot. Yam, that's the shot he needed, but Dupree, the support the Device always has, is never too far away. Now Havoc's got himself a look across here. He's going to drop straight down to Zipnik's. Will get the kill before the trade comes from Cajun B at Cat. Now he's expecting something to come across Catwalk. It's going to be Sponge that gets the peek. Wow. An open shot missed by Cajun B. He hasn't done too many of those in this game so far, but it's a 4-on-3. They have mid-control, but where are they going to take it? Looking like Carrigan, who is just on 3 kills because he hasn't seen too much action. Cajun B's been hogging it all over on long 8. Is going to be the man they go to, but immediately holding on to those grenades, keeping them late, getting that molly to slow things down. It will burn out in the next 5 seconds, actually gets extinguished, and that gives their position away.
Yep, the timing of Renegades, see how that works out. Carrigan here waiting for JKS and the boys coming in. How does it work?
They got no flashes to try and pop him in, but it doesn't matter. They just outright challenge, and that puts Cajun B into action. Gets himself one. He's just going to use that molly to actually his advantage and gives him the... Ooh, missed the shot there. Just needed a bit of a leg and a wing. That molly actually might do the damage on towards JKS because he's low on health. Doesn't matter. Carrigan flushes him out to the left-hand side and lands himself an easy shot. 12-3, great half by TSM. What you would expect in this matchup.
I mean, they just made it way too easy for Cajun B here. He's sitting at 21, 2, and 3. But what the storyline here is, it's more Renegades making it too easy than Cajun B dominating them, because of a lot of the pushes Renegades were doing were just not synchronized at all. They would not be going in while they were flashing. They were not going as a one wave. They were just going one by one. And when you're playing operas like Cajun B and players like Zipnik's and Dupree, it's just not going to work. It is when high-level Counter-Strike, you need to really play synchronized together. And something we saw from Envia's yesterday on Dust 2.
Yeah.
When they were doing their pushes, they were very synchronized. Everything was just happening so smoothly, but there was none of that from Renegades this time around, unfortunately. And it's looking very grim for them.
Yeah, a lot of head scratching going on for the Renegades. Cajun B, meanwhile, who was the nearest to the camera for TSM, was looking very, very relaxed. Just sat back in his chair, sat up, ready to go. Here we go, pistols underway. Is there anything crazy that the Renegades can do to try and counter this TSM scoreline? Dupree, Device and Zipnix with the bomb actually heading towards B. Now they have triple stack B here, Renegades. They are in a good position to stop this.
Yeah, I think they're just waiting out in tunnels to TSM players while Cajun B is going to be scouting from Cat and see what's going on in A before decisions are made.
Sponge is getting a little antsy. He's glancing across there. Now Havoc does manage to find one. That was all the way over on A. Now they realise the danger of the situation, but Carrigan strikes. He gets himself a double. They were set up perfectly for this, and now Yam's in trouble. They're just going to push his position on force. Havoc and Az are going to try and rush on through, catch them by surprise, but they're just running headlong into the pistols of TSM. Now Azza, the only man surviving here. They have every angle covered. It's a 3-on-1. Almost impossible situation for him. As you see even the jumping pistol shots coming out there from Zipnix. Tries to jump down, will get himself one, but the answer from Dupree is there. And
perfect setup for Renegades. They were waiting for that to happen. And
then Carrigan happened.
Yeah, it was watching like a house of cards falling apart. Unfortunately. Oh, well, I mean, there's nothing else to say about that, really. It was Carrigan just tearing him apart in B.
Well, Renegades posted a 16-2 score deficit. Unfortunately, it was a loss against Mouse Sports. At the moment, it's looking like it may well be a 16-3 unless they can pull something spectacular off here with the pistols. Cajun B just bursting his way in towards B site. Even the rest of the team wondering, how can we respond? That's a good start. Gets himself a quick scout shot. Gonna get a little peek through the top of window, but Zipnix just fires through the smoke and finds the head. And now Yam, Havoc and JKS. That was the only rifle they had. If Yam's going to try and recover it, it's in and around the window somewhere. He wasn't able to find it, unfortunately. It's just not fell his way. I think they're going to say they've all got head armor, so they probably want to just keep hold of these pistols.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, they're in desperation mode right now, so anything really goes. To be honest with you, you're going to be 14-3 down against TSM on Dust 2. They're just going to be too hard. It is what it is right now.
Yes, this is one-way traffic. TSM looking to make it the solid best of 5 that is looming between Envious and TSM. Personally, I think that's actually great. I mean, we were talking about at the start of the tournament, it's like there is no grand final, but this has effectively set it up to be that grand final, a best of 5 final. You couldn't ask for more.
Oh yeah, it's going to be epic.
The one difference is, of course, there's no map veto going on. Renegades going aggressive here. Azza gonna try and catch them off guard. Havoc and Sponge were backing him up. He comes around the corner, gets a little glance in there, tries to dash into Suicide and get around the side. Havoc gets himself one with the UMP. Sponge gets another. Azza comes around the side from Suicide, does get the one tap down on towards Device, but it is answered. We're into a 2-on-2. Yam and JKS versus Cajun B and Zipnix. Zipnix cautiously with the bomb, trying to pass her on the top of mid there. Yam caught a glimpse of him, so that gives the position away. And JKS trying to close the net. He's just around the corner. No, don't run with the knife. He picks up the AK and he's not looking. Zipnix has backed into Suicide, but JKS finds him. That's the bomb carrier. Now Cajun B comes around the side. It's now a straight one-on-one. JKS with head armor and an AK versus Cajun B with head armor and a Galil. And that bomb, with 42 seconds on the clock, is caught in Suicide. Cajun B on the rotate. Where's he going to go this way? Is he going to go through T-spawn?
Oh, you should have.
JKS. Well, I mean, it's always easy for us to see. So you should go that way,
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
JKS is going to have a good angle for this one. Question is, has he got the aim to challenge out Cajun B? He knows where he is. The pop flash comes through. Cajun B's just rushing headlong straight into towards this one. Smoke goes down. He's going to collect the bomb, but he's going to rush on through. JKS just sprays down through the smoke and finds him. And they get themselves another round.
Cajun figured out he didn't have the time to go and plant the palm, so he had to take the duel. JKS got a bit lucky, obviously, there, getting that shot through the smoke. But yeah, Renegades picking up around here, keeping them alive. TSM on a bit of a forced buy here, but they can afford that. They're in the driver's seat.
This right here, obviously what Yam's trying to do is something that they just couldn't do on the T side. They weren't finding any of those big opening shots. The one singular round that Yam did get it, they won the round straight away. They've not been able to give themselves that advantage early on.
But now it's going to be interesting to see the difference between how TSM attacks and how Renegades attacks.
Sponge just slowly rising from the box, but Dupree comes around with a 1D and gets the head. Havoc gets himself a second. Azza, meanwhile, holding position all the way down in pit while TSM bursts the way in towards A site. That's going to be a plant down. JKS and Yam coming through, but Yam with no armor, remember, got tagged down to 17 health. He's going to want to try and stay as far back as he can with this AWP. JKS is the one man with the kit, but I think they're going to hold. I think they're going to hold the weapons and just try and catch them on the exits, because this is so risky when going down to match point against TSM and holding weapons.
The way I just said, let's see what the difference between Renegades and TSM attacking, and then we have Dupree just running in 1D people. But the point being, they were attacking as one wave together instead of going one by one. Actually, a synchronized attack like you should, and that's what happens. You get a hold of the bomb site, get the bomb down, and make it impossible for Renegades to retake.
All right, here we go. Last round possibly here. TSM on match point, knocking out Renegades from this tournament if they were to win this, giving Renegades third place. They'll take it, and they'll be happy with that. It's all worked in their favor from a political standpoint. I think if you were asked them honestly, they never really had any guys on taking down TSM or Envy in this tournament when they first saw the setup. Azza went aggressive, but was quickly knocked off his feet by the AK shot. And again, four-man stack, all coming around catwalk, moving as one.
That really made no sense what happened there. What did he get? Azer, what was he doing there alone?
Like what Sponge trying to achieve here. There's elements of surprise possibly up in the smoke with a 5-7. That's as close as he wants to be, but he doesn't land a single tag. Finally gets a single head there. Dupree though, quick answer. Wow, that was a real aggressive spot for Havoc to be sitting on catwalk. Cajun B just gunning them down. JKS is taken down, and Cajun B, the monster that was, with 26 kills from that matchup. 16-4 the score. TSM dispatch of Renegades at the Intel Extreme Masters. We're moving on, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be TSM and Envy both on 3 lives as we move effectively towards a best-of-5 grand finals.
The Renegades had an interesting tournament for sure. Not really playing for too much, especially yesterday, but they got third place. Still, this was obviously not the greatest showing you would expect from Renegades. We've seen a lot better from them. I think they just got a bit unlucky when it comes to the map, and the matchup here was not favorable for them. If they would have, let's say, if they would have got to play like a Cash or Cobblestone, perhaps it could have been a totally different kind of scoreline.
Well, they were trying their best to get people to vote for Cash, but it just wasn't to be. There was only 2 on there, unluckily. Let's get over to Cho Bros and take us through that game.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And before we move on, ladies and gentlemen, start putting your votes for what maps you want to see next. The very first game of TSM versus Envy coming up. What's going to be in those boxes? Definitely let us know on the URL on your screen. Go over and vote. But Jason, when the match was starting, a wise man said probably going to be 16-4. Who was that?
I was expecting 16-4. No, I'm sorry. I was expecting 16-2. Some wise men to my right actually surprised me and got it perfect.
Camera right.
Yeah, camera right. That's me then. No. This man coming in. That was very well predicted. I didn't expect Renegades to really pick up that many rounds on that T side, but they did.
Well, yeah, obviously their previous record against Mouse was 16-2, but regardless of, 2 extra rounds are not, in the end, expected result, right? TSM cruising through on Dust 2 against Renegades.
Wasn't really close at all. It's a nice little warm-up, if you like, for TSM here, get themselves in the mood and get ready for these next games, because Envy's going to be a little tougher than that. Of course, Dust 2 now out of today's map pool, so, which for me a little bit sad. I would have liked to have seen Envy TSM on Dust 2, considering how well they've both played it this weekend.
Yeah, that would have been exciting. We won't be able to see that, but plenty more maps to choose from. Of course, a couple other ones that we were talking about earlier that could be, 50-50, definitely somewhere there's going to be a distinct advantage in terms of how the teams have been playing. But talking through this one, of course, Renegades now out of the tournament, they've had a fair share run, though, right? They had their best of 3 against SK on day 2. Came out 2-1. On top of that, we had some really good matches there to watch back on if you guys want to catch that on Plays.tv. But aside from that, where do you see Renegades going forward from here? We heard from you earlier, they're going to boot camp with Envy going into ESL 1 Cologne.
Well, we talked about, we're watching the game a little bit, the fact that Renegades, they don't really have like top teams in the world to play against in Australia. I mean, we have Immunity obviously playing in the major in just a couple days time, but they don't have like their Fanatics, their NIPs, their Navis, Hellraiser, etc. to play time and time again. So it's really hard for them to adapt their strategies and to kind of figure out exactly how they want to play. But going into this boot camp against Envious, that's like the perfect partner for them. They can learn quite a few maps that they're a little bit weak on. Envious is going to be a lot more successful on Dust 2 than they would have been.
I think that's been a traditional problem for Asian Counter-Strike, and I'd put Oceania in there because they're in a similar boat. The fact is that if you go all the way back to your Chinese teams in 1.6, your Korean teams in 1.6, they would come over to Europe, boot camp and do well, generally when there were more events back to back. So the problem was at home, there's less of a level and a constant, I guess, scrim lineup, really, because it's in Europe, you can play all night long and you can play any of the best 10 to 20 teams that are around at that point. A little bit harder for them, and I think having time in Europe is something that probably most teams need going into a major, because it's not just about the practice, it's also about learning the style of your opponents that you're going to be facing.
And there's a team for the ESL 1 Asian qualifiers that we had, My Revenge from Korea. They had not a lot of time to play against top teams, but what they did was they would sit on a server with no opponent, practice smokes, practice flashes time and time again to hit the sites. And when we saw them playing, they did just that. They performed really well. The problem was when you threw a curveball at them, you threw a flashbang, a smoke to counter them, they would freak out, not know exactly what to do. Then after the first day of games in the group stage, they went to a LAN after for 5 hours practicing. They came out the next day, they looked even better.
Right, yeah, so these are of course some advantages that you have from being in Europe. You have the bigger talent pool, you have the best teams to always practice against where you're adapting each other. But for now, Renegades, they are out of the tournament, but still in the top 3. But ladies and gentlemen, what's more exciting is that we have probably the matchup that everyone at home has been wishing for coming in to this tournament at the Intel Stream Masters. It's going to be TSM versus Envy in essentially a best of 5 finals in day 4 at Gamescom. Let's find out what the very first map is going to be on stage with OJ.
Let's do that. I was hoping to get a quick chat with the Puppet Master that is Spongy, but I actually don't know where he is right now. We'll chat to him a little bit later on to find out how he feels about becoming 3rd. So the map vote, it is a best of 5, as Cho and his bros have been saying. Which map are we going to go for? All the maps will be chosen as we've done it over the previous days. So it'll be from the community, you tweet it, we choose 8 tweets, and the percentage of the tweets works out to how many will go up there. Who's going to do the picking? I don't know. Let's find someone to make a choice. If I just come this way and find out somebody who is about to get an autograph. What's your name, sir? What is your name?
Tobias.
Tobias, choose a number between 1 and 8.
3.
Tobias has gone for 3. This is the map we'll play. It's going to be cash. Or if you're Australian, it's cachet. How do the 2 teams feel about that? They look happy. They're chatting away. So it is cash. Thank you very much to Fabian for 3ian, whoever that is. Anyway, thank you very much for your tweet. It will be cash. That is the first map in our best of 5. So, Chobra, let's get this on.